ashes, the spirits light up the night, looking down.
Now, from the Untold Radio Network, it's Untold Radio AM with Doug and Alex Hajicek.
Hello, Alex.
Hi.
And we are late. We had to reboot a bunch of computers. So back on track.
Yes, we are.
The mystery rebooting that I have no idea why. I don't get it. But anyhow, hello everybody at Untold Radio AM. Got a lot of people in chat already. Awesome. I really want to thank everybody too and all our live viewers. Really makes the show fun to do, don't you agree?
It does. It does.
And when you guys all leave, if you're not a subscriber, maybe you could hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And on your way out tonight, that would be nice. Leave a comment.
Yes, please.
YouTube will not do anything unless there's comments. They won't promote your show.
Yeah, you got to fight for it.
Anyhow, so we got a great show tonight. We have got quite a few people coming on. And I think all of them, am I right? All of them were subjects in the Legend Meet Science too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
I don't know why I'm just like the whole ditzy today. We have Joe Keski, Crystal Panic, Sibylla Irwin, plus a surprise guest. But I can say who it is because nobody knows her. And that's Theresa May. She is the hypnotherapist.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That is the centerpiece for this show, right?
Yeah.
So if you've all had a Bigfoot encounter or some other traumatic encounter, this is going to teach you a little bit, I guess. And it does work. So let's go ahead here and, well, no, I want to mention this. I want to ask you, you went on vacation. You went to one of my favorite, it's a tourist trap, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good name. I mean, it's the ultimate tourist trap.
In the Midwest, yeah.
Yeah, in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But it's the funnest place ever to go to. It really is. It's very magical. I recommend people go there if you haven't gone there. And that's Wisconsin Dells. And you took your loved ones there this last week, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And how did you survive a whole week?
A lot of time outdoors. Very humid. Brutally humid.
Yeah. Who are you looking at? Are you looking at where's your monitor? Oh, there. I thought it was maybe on the ground. You're looking at the ground. You ever do that? Like that? You're doing it again?
I'm looking at this can of cream soda.
Oh, well, just open the damn thing. You'll be burping. But anyhow, what did you do there? What?
You recommended the Tommy Bartlett science exposure. Yeah, that was awesome.
Did you see the water ski show too?
They shut that down.
Oh, that isn't even going anymore.
That's like a recent thing. They just stopped.
Oh, I'll bet you liability. That's what I'm thinking. But you did go in the Space Museum.
Yeah, we saw the original space capsule.
Yeah, it was cool. You can go in there.
Awesome.
Well, I thought it was the original space shuttle.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be because there's no way to get it down. It just burns up.
The shuttle,
The
capsule or the the thing.
You don't even know. You have no idea. Did you go into that amalgamated mine illusion thing where you're like you walk uphill easier than downhill?
That's the one thing we didn't get to do. I wanted to.
You didn't do that.
I know.
Oh, you got to do that. That's fun. It's an illusion, but it's funner than heck. It really messes with your brain. Anyhow, and you had crappy weather, right?
Yeah, we went to Ripley's, believe it or not.
But you had crappy weather every day.
Yeah. Some days were good, but yeah, there were some humid days that you couldn't be outside. You'd fry, you'd melt.
Did you do the water slides? And
Oh yeah, we did. Some big boys.
Yeah, some of those things are scary. I enjoy them to a point, right?
Yeah.
But
when they start, some of those warnings, they'll make you question your life decisions when you're getting on one of them.
Exactly. All right, well, let's go into some quick news. I don't have a ton. We're going to kind of do a speed show, and then we're going to get all our guests on.
Perfect.
Speed show. All right. Throw up photo 1, because this is interesting. I'm sure some of you have seen this, but I want to talk about it. This poor orangutan's got a gash in his eye, but this was the first option of an animal treating its wound with a plant. He chewed it up and made a paste, and put it over, and it's an antibacterial plant, and it completely healed it up within 7 days. No infection, healed it right up.
Man, when are they going to start using guns?
Yeah, well, they might make a bamboo gun. But it's the first time ever in history that a non-human primate has been seen actually using, making, and made it and applied it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
smart. That's smart.
Yep. So this is obviously a male orangutan, and they were apparently observing Sumatran orangutan. I don't even know how to pronounce orangutan as orangutan, orangutan. I don't even know. I don't know. Maybe somebody can tell me phonetically. I just call them orangs. Anyhow, so this, so apparently they were watching 150 different apes, and this was caught, and it's cool. It says, so the wound was closed in 5 days after observation, never became infected, and really convinced the researcher that this creature was purposely using this. It's called liana plant to treat its nasty gash. So there you go. Maybe Bigfoots do the same. Yeah. And you will love the next story, Alex. Can you throw up photo 2? So there, scientists now have theories that the universe may have a complex geometry like a donut. We're talking the universe, like all the galaxies are made into this shape.
That's incredible.
So there you go. It looks like a sprinkled donut.
Yeah, looks pretty good.
Yeah, you did. So maybe you're the one that designed the entire universe.
Someone just like me.
Yeah, someone just like you. There you go. Anyhow, and it's so complex. I don't even want to get into it. But they're calling this topology, right? This is a topology of the universe. And if you could back out far enough, this is what you would see. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Photo 3. They have discovered that maybe, I believe using lasers, burning a small patch of tissue in the lining of the upper portion of the stomach could one day treat obesity. And apparently the results are promising. So I don't know how it works, but they go in and kind of fry your tummy.
Maybe
less invasive than stapling your stomach.
Yeah.
Now, I like how they say small patch. And I'm looking at this going, that looks like most of it. Whatever. And then next, tiger beetles. I did give you a photo. Tiger beetles may weaponize ultrasound against bats. So here's a case where an insect is using ultrasound, not infrasound, ultrasound, very high frequency sound, to ward off bats because they're imitating a toxic moth.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I wonder if it might ward off you too. Ward you off of a donut. Apparently they use their hind wings and they strike their hard shell and blah, blah, blah. So there you go. And they do this when bats are near and they start producing this ultrasound.
That's crazy.
All right. Well, you saw our first news story, so I thought we'd do a very little bit, not a ton, not going to go real deep, but trivia on orangs.
Awesome.
See, there we go. This is the after picture after his eye healed up. I'm joking. All right. Do you know what orangutan means?
What?
And okay, so it's broke down by orang and then hutan. So hutan means forest and orang means person. That's the language is Malay, and that means person. So it's the person of the forest. Right?
Right.
How long do you think orangs live? Is it 40 years, 20 years, or 27 years?
20 years.
20 years. That's 27 in the wild. That's kind of the average age. But in captivity, can they live 35 years, 40 years, or over 50 years in captivity? Or do they die younger?
Over 50.
Yeah, you're right. Over 50. Every year, an estimated 2,000 to 3,000 orangs fall victim to various threats, right? Like poaching and are killed. And so they're apparently gaining, getting accurate numbers on the population's a little, guesswork. So how many orangs do you think live in the wild? Is it 65,000, 100,000, or 150,000 orangs remain in the wild, just in the wild?
100,000.
100,000. Hang on a second here. It is 65,000.
65.
Oh, thank you, Charles. Oh, man. It's awful generous.
Thank you.
And super chat. My super chat froze up. It's not working. All right. Now we'll get into the fast trivia. Where do you find orangs, Alex? Is it Amazon, Borneo and Sumatra, Africa, or East Asia?
East Asia.
Wrong. It is Borneo and Sumatra only. Yep.
Oh.
How long are the arms of orangs? Is it, listen to this now, 3 meters, 7 meters, 4 meters, or 2 meters? 3, 7, 4, 2.
2.
You're right. That's long.
It is.
I looked at that and I went, oh my God, I didn't know their arms were that long. But that's kind of what they're almost all arms.
Yeah.
You ever seen a big male like at the zoo and they're just like, all you see is arms, almost like a spider coming at you.
It's weird.
Yeah, they are. They're very strange. Little bodies, thick bodies, but small. All right. How long do baby orangs stay with their moms? Is it 7 years, 4 years, 1 year, or 2 years?
For 7.
7 years is correct. And but we got Buttworm back. Who's Buttworm? Love your name, Buttworm. So let's see here. Yeah, I'm not paying attention to anything today. I've been trapped in the house too long. So it's been bad weather, right, for like a week, just terrible rain, all like heavy rain. Today was beautiful and I couldn't get out because I had to do kind of like this stuff, right?
Right.
That's the way it goes. How much does fruit make up the orang's diet? Is it 50%, 20%, or 60% fruit?
Did you say 60%?
Yeah, 60,
Yeah.
20,
yeah.
or 50.
Yeah.
Right, now let
60.
me look at our audience. See, Jen's on hide and buttworm too. Yep, Jen got it right. Goatman Curious. I love that name too. That's pretty clever. Bristol got it right. It's 60. All right. At what age do females start breeding? Is it 5 years, 15, 20, or 10?
5.
5. Whatever everybody's guess. When boom, boom, boom. It is 15.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's kind of like I guess. Well, I should say like humans, but humans can at 15,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How many vocal sounds have been recorded? Individual identified different sounds by ranks. Is it 55, 14, 27, or 32?
32. 32.
And Alex is cheating, no doubt. He is no doubt cheating. Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you. Thank you.
And okay, how far can a ring's long call be heard from? How far will it travel? And remember, it's forest, right? Is it 2,000 meters, 5,000 meters, 3,500 meters, or 1,500 meters?
3,500.
3,500 meters? It is wrong. He knew the answer, but he got it wrong on purpose, so we wouldn't think he was cheating. He's doing premeditated non-cheating. Okay. Anyhow, it's 1,500, which is just, obviously it's under a mile, but that's
still far. That is far.
There we go. That's it for trivia. See, this is speed. This is speed Untold.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're late. All right. Tech breakdown. Let's do it. You can do it. You can play your bumper.
Awesome.
All right. Have you ever heard of a driveway alarm, Alex?
No. Is that? I imagine the name kind of says it all, right?
Okay. Well, people who live, you want to throw up photo 6.
Yeah.
I'll kind of replace you. There you go. Okay. So there's just a huge amount of different driveway alarms. This is one of them. Just one. I like this one only because it's kind of cute. The one with the yellow eyes, by the way, is for your home or for the inside of your tent. But anyhow, driveways alarm, people who live in the rural areas use them. So they're notified when someone comes in their long driveway, right? And these driveway alarms are really cool because, one, they're self-contained. There's no setup. You buy a driveway alarm, you buy the sensors. You can buy as many as you want. I mean, this one will take up to like 50 sensors that you can buy. And that's the big one with the ears, right? That's the sensor. And the thing about these, I've been using them for a year, testing, and the batteries last a year in the sensors and the alarm, right? So how could you use these? Well, think about it. They go a half a mile, you're on expedition. These could be placed up high. They're not cameras. Everybody says Bigfoot's don't like cameras. These aren't cameras, right? These need to be tested out in the field by many people. And it could alert you if you put it up high where, a bear isn't even going to set it off, or a, rabbit or whatever. And you get an alarm. That means it's a human or human-like, right? It's tall. Well, you can do experiments like these, and you can hide these really easy because all you need to have is just one sensor, really. The other thing I like about these, they're really wide, super wide angle. Like they'll be 50, 60 feet wide. And they work flawlessly, like really flawless. You can set the alarm for music, a chime, whatever. You've got all sorts of different things you can pick to alert you. So it doesn't have to be offensive. So in your tent, it can be a little Tinkerbell, right? The alarm goes off. You could also place them low. You can do whatever. You can place it under your tent. If anything actually is walking around your tent, the alarm's going to go off. Right?
That's awesome.
I believe you can wear an earphone for the alarm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. You can stick an earphone in, so that way you're alerted silently.
You're keeping an eye on it.
And they're just passive. Like I said, it's passive IR. They're not putting out anything. And I love this owl because it uses black sensors. They're not the white PIR
sensors.
Right. Yep. Now, when they claim it goes a half a mile, I've tested them really far, but never a half a mile. Right. I have no idea. Don't come back on me if they only go, 1,000 feet.
It's still a long
half a
way.
mile is like 2,500 plus.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea. Don't expect that. But still, I mean, even if they go 100 feet, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, 100 feet. That'd be far.
Yep. But I think they'll go quite a bit farther than that. So you can really, and those sensors are not expensive. You can, get them, I think, for like $8 a sensor. So the initial cost of the unit and one sensor in this case, I believe, is $35. So it's not much.
Oh no, that's not bad at all.
I'm sure people are selling them used too. All right, what other things here? Oh, they're weatherproof. They're wide angle. And you could be like, for this owl, decorate it with feathers. Go get a bunch of grouse feathers or something and decorate it up really good so it's really camouflaged.
Yeah, then it's super camouflaged.
It might even elicit curiosity.
Yeah, I could see them being curious.
Yeah. If you're going to paint it, use acrylic paint like Timea paint, model paint. Don't use enamel because it stinks. Use
the smell. Yeah.
Yeah. Use water-based acrylics.
Water-based.
Yep. What else? Oh, use hot glue. You can even do more. They're very waterproof. I've had one I've been testing in just severe rainstorms. Still works great. But go ahead and add some extra hot glue on the seam, right? You can waterproof these things. They're cheap. So there you go. Throw up one more. Photo 7. It's another brand, and these have the white, more the standard white PIR sensors. Yep. These are even cheaper, $24, and you get another sensor. But once again, you can add all the sensors you want. Batteries last forever.
That's cool. Forever, yeah.
So, and then next week, I'm going to briefly talk about a ground vibration alarm that you can do, and you don't have to make it. You can buy it for under $24 with a remote.
24? That's cheap.
Disarm, rearm, change what type of alarm you want, and I will be talking about that and demoing that next week, along with David Ellis is going to come on and teach us more about sound analysis. Okay.
Very cool.
And that's what's going on next week. And anybody in chat have any questions? I don't think so. Says Jay goes, my driveway alarm works 1,200 feet away. There you go.
Awesome.
So that's probably pretty reasonable. But man, if you could get 10, 20 sensors, you could really do a really cool job and hide them all, put them all up high. I mean, you'd know if you had activity, right?
You would. You would right away.
Yep. All right. Enough of that.
So what are we on to now?
Oh, and I see we have Sibylla and we have Joe backstage. We'll be with you guys really quick here. Untold clips. Let's do it. I like how you got the sensors.
That's my screw up.
That's the producer's screw up. Okay, clip 1 is a WTF. And no, you don't need to play the bumper. You can if you want, but you don't need to. I have 3 clips. Do you want to play it? Play it. No, you don't want to play it. Okay, good. Okay, sound is good. This is just so bizarre, right? I see this, but I get it. To work. He just wants to see these beautiful creatures up close. So he made a hat with feeders hanging from it.
Viewer. That's cute.
Did you imagine me out on the deck doing this? The neighbors would call 911 on me. Right? Because from far away it would look pretty weird.
It would.
All right. Okay, so this next one, I don't want sound. The animal looks like it could be a cat, a bear, a dog, or a fox. I don't really know. Look at this thing. Just go ahead and play it.
Oh, that's so cute.
I'm sure it's a dog, but it just has qualities. Doesn't it look like it could be a little black bear?
Yeah, it does.
It looks like it could be maybe a cat. It's really cute. So anyhow, if you have a comment on this little cute creature, let me know.
Cute.
All right. And this, I want to know what the F is going on here. Apparently trees do get excited. Go ahead and play clip 2A.
But you never seen that before.
I love it. I just like his comment. I bet you never seen that before. Apparently they've had a lot of rain or something.
Crazy.
Is that crazy?
That is wild.
It's bleeding to death. There you go. Okay, enough of that. Clip 3 is a nature clip. No sound needed. Clip 3. Okay. So I first looked at this and I go, what am I looking at? And then I realized it was two moths.
That is so weird.
I don't think moths normally go face to face.
No.
But maybe they're mating.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
They look
Next.
huge.
They're cool. Yeah, really cool looking. All right. Clip 4. I just thought was funny. Go ahead and put that up. You can play it. You can leave the sound on.
Yeah, let me grab that. It's even corrupted.
It's corrupted.
Yeah, 1 second.
That's no big deal.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
All right, clip 4A.
All right.
No sound. This guy, I've seen this before. I've gone up to like Snow Grove with people, and they literally went to Cabela's and bought out every sporting good item that you could imagine, price tag still on them. Go ahead and clip 4A. This guy's dressed for a bear, man. Go ahead and play it. Says he's dressed for a shark. Sweet.
Oh my God.
Keep back. He's got everything, man. All right. All right. Clip 5 is kind of cute. Sounds fine. This horse literally is entertaining this baby. Watch. Let's try to make the baby laugh.
That's cute.
Yeah, enough of that. All right. Clip 6. I've never seen a raven like this. Go ahead and play it. Sounds fine. A white raven.
Not every day you see a white raven.
I think she zooms in on it. I believe, maybe not. I don't remember. There's a regular one. That's enough. All right, clip 7. Sound is good, and nobody, absolutely, it'd be the worst nightmare ever to have this near your home. Because if it's near your home, you're never going to sell your home. Go ahead and play it. Clip 7.
For this today, when I fall in the
Sinkhole.
hole, at least see a
That is
pumpkin.
ridiculous.
Look where his
That
home
is at least 50 feet deep.
It's like a lot over.
About 50 feet deep. It's in the water.
And these things can happen really. You remember that guy that got sucked?
There's another one up front.
His bed. He was in bed and he died. And he just
Oh,
sinkhole formed under the house and he just fell
what a
into
way
the
to go.
sinkhole.
In the hole, at least see a
That is
pumpkin.
Did you
ridiculous.
see his house up there?
Yeah.
That is at least 50 feet deep.
How many?
About
All right,
50
enough of
feet
that.
deep. It's in the water.
It's quite a problem in Florida, where the acidified rain eats away at the limestone. Okay. Clip 8. Sound is good. This is really super cool and super cute. It's, I believe, a sandhill crane. Go ahead and play it.
Hi, Carl. I see you. You just scared me. And look,
Believe it or
it's
not,
in
I
my
saw
door.
this
Look
at the
at
neighbor's
my
house,
house.
not with a
Look at
crane,
that.
but with an otter.
Look at that.
It
It's not
ran
heavy.
down the street, went up
You
to
want me
their
come
front
outside, my
door,
sweetie?
started ringing the doorbell and knocking on the front
I
door.
love
And
you.
otter,
So weird.
I'm coming.
big, like a river
You
otter.
are so funny.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing, and I had my camera
You are
literally
so
there. I
funny
never even
knocking on
turned
my
it
door like
on.
that.
My cell phone.
What in the world?
Yeah,
Who does
it's just
that,
cool.
Carl?
Carl comes and visits.
Hi,
Okay.
Blue. Hi, Carla.
All right. Clip 9. Sound is good. They got to make way for this rock for sure. It's a crazy clip. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. That one is nuts.
Clip 9. I'll make way. Just listen to this thing. Clip 10. Tool use. This fits with our show theme. They're all look at them watch. That's what's the most interesting part. The way this orang is teaching.
That's just wild.
Man, I'm losing my voice. Hold on. There we go. Clip 10. Oh, no, it's not clip 10. Clip 11. This is so cool, Alex. It's miniatures. These cars are being pulled by magnets. This is all miniature. Look at the detail.
So incredible.
Can you imagine the work this was? They built everything
yeah.
from scratch.
Wow.
Formula One racing.
Gosh.
If I wouldn't have seen the dude in the beginning, I probably would have thought it was a real race. Right? I think he copied the Monaco F1 race. Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, I like miniatures. Clip 12, no sound. Almost done. Bioluminescence. I don't know. I'm sure some people have seen this. It's just, it always gets me. It's so beautiful.
Yeah, the glow is just awesome.
Yep. It's phytoplanktons. And that when they're disturbed, they just put a burst of light out. It's so cool. I just got a text message, Alex, that the garbage is already out. I love that text. I love it. All right. Bonus clip. This moose loves music. Sound is good and necessary. But doesn't it seem like he's doing that to make him go?
Yeah, he is.
A lot of people have tried chimes to attract Bigfoots. I don't think with
I've heard that.
All right. That's it. We're
All
ready
right.
for guests.
Everyone's in the back room.
Yeah, let me look here. I see Joe. I see Sibylla. I see Theresa May. And I see Crystal. So I don't know if you have anything you would need to do a little 2-second intermission.
Yeah,
No?
yeah. We'll be right back in just a minute here.
All right. Well, I see here. Let's just bring them on and I'll kind of introduce them and they can introduce themselves. And I know all these people personally because they were all guests of my home for Legend Meet Science. So hi, Sibylla. Hi, Joe. Hi,
Hello.
Theresa May. Long time no see. And hey, Crystal.
Howdy.
Oh, everybody's got nice background and everything. Awesome. So, I don't know who wants to go first, but maybe Sibylla can kind of set the table here. You know, what did we do, Sibylla?
Oh my goodness, we had such an extraordinary time. The people that I got to meet and interact with in your beautiful home, and meeting Alex as well. It was just a fabulous time, man. I so enjoyed the process that Theresa took everyone through and the data that we uncovered. It was just, I really wished, I told Theresa, I said, I want to go, learn how to do hypnosis myself so I could help my witnesses, because it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Well, gee, I'm glad I picked you, Sibylla. Jeez,
it was
so
fantastic.
Nice.
It was fantastic.
Well, one, it was fun, but it was I learned a lot too. So let's go to Theresa May next. Hey, Theresa.
Hi.
So she was this very thoughtful hypnotherapist that we met. And it was just, everything was so amazing, Theresa. So go ahead and tell us what you do.
Well, I have been doing holistic therapies since 1998. So I started out in more of the woo-woo side, energy medicine, but now I do a lot more in life coaching, regression work, past life regression, NLP. I don't know if anybody knows what NLP is, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a way to do change work for people that are dealing with PTSD and other issues, wounds from the past, stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I do.
So when I asked you to do Bigfoot regressions, what went through your brain?
Well, to be honest with you, I was like excited because, I mean, I've been a follower of like ETs and Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti since I was a little girl. So, and I've always been in love with the forests and mountains. In fact, I just went hiking a couple weeks ago in Colorado, and I don't know. I believe that there are beings that are out there and we just haven't either caught them on camera or the mainstream media wants to dismiss them. I'm open to really work with those who actually have had real encounters. So I was really honored to be able to do this work.
Well, it was good. I think everybody felt you did an amazing job. I did too. It just worked out very well. I do want to mention, by the way, we're going to have part 2 to this show where Crystal is going to come back with her sister Cassie, correct? Still hoping to get Kenny, Joe, and you both back. You got to make that happen. Kenny's awesome, but you got to just tell him, even if we have to pre-record it, we got to get Kenny.
I'll do what I can.
Queenie's awesome. Okay. So, but we're going to get also Jason B. Miller. So we're going to have another part 2 to this. So, okay, let's go to Crystal next. Crystal, you came a long ways to come here, and you came with your twin sister.
Yep.
And you had the most, I think, amazing experience. It was absolutely, terrifying, nuts. Obviously, it was terrifying for you and your sister.
I didn't realize how how I was going to feel after.
Yeah.
So,
well, how are you doing now?
I'm doing good. I was just physically and emotionally drained for at least a week after. I just felt like I just wasn't in the same reality. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird. Like I had so much going through my head. But it was very interesting to say the least.
Well, that's good. We're going to have, once again, we're going to have to get you and Cassie. And so we're going to have you tell your story tonight, if you don't mind, if you feel up to it.
Okay. Okay.
You can do the short version if you want. And Joe too, we want your story again. But let's go ahead and start with you, Crystal. And then at any point, this is a free-for-all. You guys can just dive in. You don't need to have this organized Zoom meeting crap. Just dive in. If you have something to say, just say it or raise your hand or whatever you want to do. But go ahead, Crystal. So tell us what happened to you. I mean, this is one of the craziest stories ever.
Okay. I still get anxious when I share it. So if I jump around, I apologize. I still seem to do that. It was October of 1978. We had come home one night and we pulled up to the trailer and we went to walk in, and my mom had noticed that the back door was busted, practically ripped off the hinges. And she rushed us back up to the car, and the sheriff's department had come out, and they looked around the house and determined that nothing had been stolen. So, we went in the house, and that night, where the door was broken, our bedroom was like directly across the hall from it, a little diagonal from there. And I was up on the top bunk, and my sister was on the bottom bunk, and I awoke to my sister calling my name, Crystal, Crystal. And I sat up, and there in the doorway was just this large, hairy creature standing in the doorway in the trailer in our bedroom door. And it was backlit by the light behind me. I'm sorry. I have a lot of noise going on. They didn't realize I was live already. I'm sorry. And I was so scared to go in front of the bed down to my twin's bed that I squeezed myself between the wall and the bunk and got down to her bed. And it started to come in. And then from the time of it coming in, everything went black. My twin and I don't remember anything until that next morning. And we walked down the hall, and in the living room was a big bay window overlooking the backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And this creature was in the backyard squatting behind the car that was back there. It made eye contact with us, stood up, turned around, and just walked into the woods. So that's the encounter.
Yeah, that's
so.
it. Well,
I don't know. Do you want me to share with what kind of came out during the hypnosis?
Well, a little bit, yeah. And we're gonna show maybe a clip or two here. One of the things I really want to get through to people is that this thing came and broke the door the same day it came in, right? That same night.
That same day, yep.
And the sheriff actually came out. I mean, this is documented. The sheriff comes out, checks out the home, made sure there was nobody in the home, blah, blah, blah. So this thing had already been in your home, probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
we don't know.
Don't know. Nothing was stolen. Nothing seemed to be out of place. I mean, we were 6 at the time, so for us, it's kind of scary. I apologize. They know I was going live today.
Yeah, say hey.
They just walk through. I'm so sorry. Sorry. I live in an open concept log home, so
that's fine.
My space is a sheet right here for now, just to kind of separate the back of the stairs coming down through the house. So
that's all right. Okay. So this obviously traumatized you and your sister, and one of the reasons you participated in this as an experiment to see whether Theresa May could extract any new information and I guess therapeutically help you. That's about all I really want to say about that. But I do know this. I mean, there were tears. I mean, there was a lot of emotion that came out.
6 hours of crying.
Yeah.
It was very emotionally and physically draining.
Yeah. I mean, this wasn't, just so people know, this wasn't like just bam, bam, just choosh. There was a lot of exercises that Theresa put Crystal through as she did Joe and other people. And the process is long. It's not a fast, it just isn't a wham, bang, done, Theresa, can you comment about why it takes so long?
Well, in Crystal's case, because she was so young, just imagine a 6-year-old going through that experience. So a child is really having a hard time, trying to interpret what just happened, what was this experience about, and not being able to put words to it. So there was more trauma because she was not able to really make sense out of it. Whereas in the other cases, they were adults. At least, I think the youngest one after Crystal was Ken, and he was 16, I think, when it happened to
15,
him.
close, yeah.
15, okay.
Yep.
And so I think because he had other, he had you, Joe, to get through this experience together and to process it together, it was very, very different. So I was not surprised that Crystal was holding on to more PTSD, stress, and how traumatic it would be. Because when you're that small, your parents alone are, big people. And then to have something hairy, dark, and, larger than your adult human parents, that can be very traumatic. So in her case, we had to do a couple of sessions just to calm the nervous system down, to try to, get into a place where she could feel safe. And that's probably one of my most important things that I feel like it's important to do when we're regressing, is to anchor a person in the ability to feel safe so they can be in their adult self and back in that other experience without being fully associated. And I think, again, the more traumatic it is, the more difficult it is for a person to be disassociated from that experience. But it's certainly a practice, and it's really an important tool when I'm doing hypnosis with people with traumatic experiences.
Well, all I can say is this: is everybody was very pleased. I just thought you were so patient, and it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. I think people will be amazed when they get to see the show. Joe, do you want to relive a little bit of your story and maybe try to compress it a little bit so we can get through everything? We'll get into more details later, but go ahead and give us the shorter version of your story.
Yeah, the short version of mine is in 1995. It was me, my cousin Ken, and my buddy that I graduated high school from. I was home on leave. I was active duty Army, and we went for a night hike down in the Cuyahoga Valley National Park, which is basically a suburb of Cleveland. So it's not out in the middle of nowhere. It's in the middle of all the suburbs. And while we were hiking the railroad tracks, we were hiking down some tracks and heard a really loud scream, which a lot of people associate it. And that was the Ohio howl. It sounded very similar to the Ohio howl. And we were walking, just kind of talking amongst ourselves, wondering what that was. And we kind of we hiked just under a half mile, and we got to some train cars that were parked on the tracks, messed around there for a minute, and turned around to head back. And as we were heading back, there was a swamp or a marsh in between the train tracks and the road. And just as we're walking and talking, something in the middle of that marsh just lets out this just blood curdling scream, a screech. It started so high pitch, and it just felt like it kept getting deeper and deeper. And the biggest thing I remember from this scream is just how loud it was, and the duration, and that it physically made your ear feel like it was vibrating and itch. Like being up close to a race car or something like that. If you've ever felt the involuntary itching of your eardrum that makes you stick your finger in your ear. And that's what I was feeling in my left ear. But nothing was moving. I mean, I didn't see any water moving. I didn't see where this noise was coming from. It was just the scream coming out of the water. And then it stopped. And basically everything, was that just ultimate silence. The entire, everything just went silent. And my buddy grabs onto my shoulder, and he's starting to really panic. And as he starts screaming in my ear, I thought it was a tree stump, but this thing, it just blows up out of the water and charges us. And it starts throwing its arms, like you would be throwing your weight, like these roundhouse punches. It's throwing its arms and it's charging us through the water. And I just remember this thing coming right at us. And, just in the split second, the three of us ran, and this thing was only about 25 yards away, and it got a good jump on us. I mean, it was running before we kind of picked up on what was happening. And when we took off, I was the last one in line, and it got pretty close to me, it came up out of the water, and it just stood, like a soldier at attention. It stood, and it locked up, and it froze right at that spot. And as we kept running, kept looking over my shoulder, and it didn't move, but I could see all the detail. The moonlight was reflecting off of it. Its shoulders were, 3-4 foot wide. Its hips were level with the train tracks, and the tracks were elevated off the ground. So, they were, at least 4 feet off the bank of the marsh is how high the tracks were elevated. And, all the muscle definition. And the one thing that I could never remember, I worked with Sibylla, I could never remember what the face looked like. The face was just black. And, that was one of the neat things that came out in the regression, is that I did not see the face, but my cousin did. And, his part of the regression really filled in a lot of the blanks that I needed to hear.
And you carried a lot of guilt because your cousin was younger than you. You were in the military. Yep. You just felt like you abandoned this. You guys never really talked about what happened.
No, we didn't at all. I mean, obviously, it was the ride home was chaos, and we got back, and everybody just laughed and thought we were goofing on them and everything like that. So we basically just shut up about it. I mean, the three of us talked that night. My cousin wanted to go home in the morning, and I made him swear that we weren't going to tell his parents, because I thought that I almost got us all killed, because it was my idea to go down those tracks.
Yeah.
And the last thing I wanted was my aunt and uncle and everybody to be thinking I was so reckless and taking what were you doing taking everybody out at night in the middle of the woods. So I made my cousin swear that he wasn't going to say anything about it. And he did. And, I'm a father now. I got a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old. And after having an experience like that, I could never imagine, telling them to shut up about it and never say anything, because it was, I mean, it was so mind bending on what happened. And he was an only child, and you just turn him loose and be like, don't ever talk about this again. You know, I carried a lot of guilt for that. And my other buddy, you know, from high school, he was my best friend at the time, and he never spoke to me again after that. I mean, this worked, you know, July 4th is going to be 29 years, and I've never seen him again, other than the night he closed the door in my face, and that was it.
Yeah, and no, Sibylla was there. Sibylla, would go on to you. You were there to capture firsthand any new details of these regressions. And have you worked on anything now since your initial sketches that you've done that when you were here?
Yes, I have been working on them. There was one for Crystal, and then also what Kenny actually saw, and how it explained why Joe couldn't see the face. I'll never forget how amazing and cool at the same time that was. Anyway, to answer your question, yes, I have been working on them, and I still have some more work to do, especially with Joe with the arms coming out of the water. I'm still, because I want to do it so you have one arm coming out and then the other arm coming up, so that it's not animated, of course, but you can kind of see it. Plus the water, as it was being pushed by this creature moving so fast, I want to create that look
movement.
Yes. Through the
Yeah, I
water,
guess that would be the thing. Actually created a wake, didn't it, Joe?
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah. I said that thing came through the water like you had a chain hooked to a 4-wheel drive truck.
Wow.
And you were dragging it through. I mean, it came through fast, really fast. Like you couldn't believe how fast you could never have a human run through water. No way.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Did it ever
No.
throw rocks, Joe? I can't remember for some reason.
So that was something that I have a vague memory of now after going through the regression, is that there was some rock throwing that I guess it was one of those details that I didn't put 2 and 2 together, because I thought there were beavers swimming in the water. So I was thinking it was the beavers slapping the tails. But when Ken had his regression, I was able to sit in on his regression, and he clearly remembered, the main thing he was doing as a 15-year-old was kind of bored as me and my buddy are talking, and he's throwing rocks in the water. Well, something started throwing rocks back, and Ken kept telling us that something's throwing rocks back, and I kept telling him, no, it's beavers. But he was adamant that no, something is throwing rocks at me. And Aaron and I just kept pressing on like nothing was happening.
Yeah, that's crazy. Who was the easiest to regress, Theresa?
Wow, that's a really difficult one.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Let me think about it. It's a toss-up between Joe and Ken, I think. Yeah. And I think it was because they had watched. Didn't you guys observe the other regressions? And
no, I didn't see it. So I was really nervous about it, and that's one of the things about the regression. I really want to see the tapes of it, because I know I went through it, but like Crystal was saying, I was in such a fog afterwards. My memory of that night doesn't feel like I remember it from 29 years ago. It feels like I remember it from 4 months ago. So it's crazy. The memory of it now is that much more crisp. The thing that I don't remember is, Theresa, I don't remember any questions you were asking me, and I don't know how I answered them. I was kind of like in that moment and going through it. So whatever you guys got on camera is a surprise to me, because I have no clue what I said. I hope it's good.
Well, I have to say that, Joe, I remember towards the end when I asked, so it's the work that I do is, it's important to be able to remember, go back and access the actual event to remember as much as possible. But the other piece was to restore some kind of wisdom or lesson learned, or some little morsel of wisdom that you could carry with you. And Joe, you said something that still touches me. And it brought me to tears during your session. And I don't know if you kept that in your recording, Doug, but I'd be curious.
We recorded everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So everybody was different. And as far as regression work goes, just our misconception is that are you hypnotizable? And the short end of that answer is everyone is hypnotizable, because it's not hypnosis is self-hypnosis. So and so self-hypnosis is really just taking the opportunity to access different brainwave states. So most of the time we're in beta brainwave, but if we're relaxed, watching a movie, reading a newspaper, a book, going for a walk, we're in an alpha state. And every once in a while, we dip down into theta brainwave state. And that is the open doorway to the unconscious mind. So the longer we do work, the more it increases the opportunity to go into that theta brainwave state, because you do that about every 20 to 45 minutes. So everyone is able to access, memories through hypnosis.
That's interesting. Yeah, I just find it interesting. You don't remember anything about the actual hypnosis, Joe. How much do you remember, Crystal? I mean, do you remember the actual questions and things, or is it kind of a big fuzzy blur for you two?
I do remember some of the stuff. But yeah, I think the same situation is you don't remember everything.
Yeah.
Because honestly, afterwards, I was in such a fog. A fog. It's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
And I think for like a week afterwards, I just didn't really feel like myself. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it, but it was like I just felt different. Like I don't know
Definitely.
if it was, it brought up so many emotions and so many things that I had pushed back for so long, that now sharing the encounter again, I start feeling that emotion again in my chest, and I feel like I want to cry again. And I told myself, I'm not going to cry tonight. I'm not going to cry tonight. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, I will say this, and I don't know if people know this about you, but you became a BFRO researcher, an actual Bigfoot researcher, based on your personal experience. And I would imagine, isn't that therapy, Theresa, for somebody who's seen a creature? And I would imagine you have a comment on this too, Sibylla. You've seen something traumatic, and now I think part of you wants to know what in the hell it was.
I'm seeking answers now. I love talking to people about their Bigfoot encounters, and just talking. I love talking to people about Bigfoot. I'm fascinated by it. I would love to see it. Now I would love to see it again. Now I'll go out in the woods, and if I hear something, I'm going to walk towards it, because I need to see it again. It's like I need that validation in my head that this is real.
Do you ever have self-doubt, like most researchers who have seen a creature, then have turned to research? They always self-doubt, like, God, did I really see that? Did I, was I mistaken? Have you battled with that too?
No.
You haven't? Oh, okay.
No, because I believe that what we saw was a Bigfoot. It's big and hairy on 2 feet, wide. When I look back now, I'm thinking it fit in the door frame. So was it a juvenile? Now thinking back as an adult and now doing research and talking with people. So I do think about it a lot, and it's my passion. Now I'm fascinated by Bigfoot. I'm actually going to an event this weekend to talk to people about Bigfoot. So,
wow, yeah. Well, it certainly is therapeutic. There's no doubt. It is. Do you feel that you have new theories, or you had theories on what in the world was that thing doing in your home? Why did it break your door down? Was it possibly spying on you because you guys were probably 2 cute kids, harmless, young children. And I would imagine, stories like this are endless, where Bigfoots are spying on children.
It actually makes me, after we had our encounter, we shared it with my mom that, afterwards, and she shared about an encounter that she had as a little girl in those same woods. So it always made me wonder, is it generational? Is it, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. I mean, I feel like it's a flesh and blood thing, but I just, I don't know. I need to see it again.
Yeah. So do you think it was just curious about, you guys as kids? I mean, one could come up with all sorts of theories that it was maybe a female that had lost its children. Certainly a theory that people have when a Bigfoot's that interested in children, that it was maybe a female that was just curious. So
I believe, just based on the size now, looking back at, the evidence that, how it fit in the door frame, and you could just see the light over its shoulders, that it was small enough to fit inside a trailer door in the hallway. So I don't know, how tall is a trailer door? How, to determine that size is probably only about 7 feet.
Yeah, 7 foot.
So probably on the smaller side. So it, just the shoulders were just on the other side of the door there, and you could just make out the light coming over. But again, I had the same situation, Joe. I don't remember the face. Like, I just remember the eyes. So when people will ask me, what did its nose look like? What did its mouth look like? What did this look like? I still can't tell you, because I was just focused on those eyes. So that's all I can remember about that. But it does. It makes you think a lot. I don't know what to think. That's why that's why I do what I do now. I need those answers. I'm looking for that evidence, looking for the proof.
Yeah. Well, it's I think it's great what you're doing, and you are working with the BFRO, correct?
Yes, I am. I'm a BFRO researcher. Yep. For the state of New Hampshire.
Yep. Quint asked an interesting question about, and I would imagine this, maybe Theresa can answer this. What is your take on certain religious beliefs not to participate in hypnotism? I don't know what to think of that question. It's interesting.
I don't know what to think about that either. I mean,
I've never heard anything like that.
Which religions are opposed to hypnosis? I'm not sure. I think that's more individual belief systems, because some people think that I'm doing something to someone else, and that I might be, or a hypnotist might be, it's not parlor room pranks or jokes or whatever. I'm not going to make someone cluck like a chicken. So that's not work. No, it's really just helping a person be able to open the doorway between their conscious mind and their unconscious mind, and to help them open up those memory files and heal whatever needs healing. And yeah, that's all we do.
Yeah, I mean, all you're really doing is getting someone to do a deep relaxation. I don't know what would be bad about that, right? I mean, there's almost all religions promote meditation.
Well, yeah, they call it different things probably,
Yes.
But yes, that is true. That is true.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's a good question. And anybody has any, please, put them in caps. Put them in caps, and we'll get to them. So, Sibylla, I mean, along with me, we had no idea what we were going to hear. Were you surprised, let down, happy? I mean, was it more than you had thought? I mean, what was your whole thoughts now in hindsight?
I was so jazzed because I thought it was fantastic. I've done hypnosis myself to recover some alien abduction things, and I know how powerful it is. And so I'm a firm believer in that using hypnosis for some of these people is just absolutely fabulous, especially in regards to PTSD that some witnesses still have so bad. So I was not surprised because I figured that they would uncover some things that they had blocked. I was, and I thought Theresa just she did such a she did such a beautiful job at keeping them relaxed and
Yeah,
just
she
her
knocked it out of the
voice.
park.
Yeah, she's so soothing, and I'm really
Yep.
kind of surprised that I didn't go under myself because I've experienced that before with just being in the room when they're inducing somebody. I could just go right out. So I was a little concerned that I was going to be sitting behind
It crossed my mind
the
too,
witness and just go.
because I was working. I'm thinking, oh, here I go. And in fact, I was told by people I did go down. I don't know if you saw me.
Oh, you
yeah,
did.
there were a few moments we thought,
Yeah, I went down just with them.
Yeah.
I just went down.
Yeah, he did.
My
Oh,
sister
gosh.
told me that you did.
See, you guys are all, you're all like, oh, he's going down. There he goes. Yeah,
I
because
think
we
it's
did have
fabulous.
people. We did
Yeah,
have
I think it's
people.
fabulous. Oh, I'm sorry. And I think more people should do it. Like, I think if there's people out there that have blocks or they have missing time or any of those things, they should contact Theresa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would highly recommend.
Absolutely.
So should we play it? Just Alex, I don't know what you ended up gathering up. I was too busy this week to follow up with you. Do you have it?
I have some, some behind the scenes, some raw
Okay.
sample footage.
Who
to
do
share.
you have? What sessions do you have? Do you have Crystal, Joe,
Crystals.
Jenny?
I've just got a little bit of crystals.
Oh, okay, you do. Crystal, with your permission, do you want to play a tiny clip? And anytime you can just say, pull the plug. Oh, but you and Bobby, we don't have to. We can play.
We're fine. We're fine.
Yeah, no, I understand. Oh, here we go. All right, we'll just keep this real short, Alex. And this, I believe, is from my camera. This is me shooting. So go ahead and, is it okay, Crystal?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay.
I have no clue what we're going to hear here, so I'm like.
Yeah, well, this will give you an idea of the emotions, though. So take heed and please respect what Crystal went through. All right, go ahead, Alex.
Or fur does it have? Dark hair. Dark. Okay. Can you see any other features? The eyes, the nose, mouth. Can't see the nose. That's right. Just relax. What's going on? Is, but I know she is. Okay. Your conscious mind knows the story that she remembers. Yeah. I just remember its eyes staring. What did those eyes? What was the shape of those eyes? I just see almond eyes. Almond eyes. Almond shape, and they're in the face. Oh. Okay. They're in your face? How do you mean? It's close. Oh. Are you still in the living room looking out the window? Or are you back in the bedroom? Get back in the bedroom. Awesome. You did it.
Okay, Alex, that's plenty. Gives people an idea of what Crystal went through. Thanks for sharing that, Crystal.
Thank you.
It's already got me crying.
Oh,
it brings it back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it really was. I mean, it was powerful. And then we'll play another clip from, do you have any of Kenny? Or do you have Joe? What do you have?
I do have a clip of Ken's I could play.
Do you have a clip of Joe?
Sorry, just those two for tonight.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Joe, you don't still don't get to see it.
That's all right.
Go ahead and play a little clip of Kenny. This is Joe's cousin, Kenny Keski.
Okay.
And then what happens?
Aaron runs.
Aaron,
He's the first to go.
what are you noticing here at that moment when your friend ran?
Relief, because I didn't want to be the first to go.
Ah,
But I was ready.
yep.
We're not quiet. There's a lot of screaming. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Yeah. What about action? Running now?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I've never run so fast.
Wow.
There you go. It gives you kind of an example. Now you know why I went down. Theresa, your voice is so soothing. I have a feeling you could hypnotize our entire audience tonight.
Close your eyes and take a deep breath.
All right, here we go. So are you recovered, Crystal, from seeing the
Yes, I'm
your
good. Thank
clip?
you. I'm good. Thank you. I told somebody, I said, I don't know if I can watch the episode.
Oh, you'll be able
going to
to.
be so emotional.
And things were shot from multiple cameras. So that was just one, kind of my scratch track camera, which did some work. It didn't have the greatest audio on my camera. But anyhow, so from all of this, the question is this maybe a good tool, do you think, for other people? Go ahead, Crystal. Is this recommended by you or no?
No, I do highly recommend it. This is something that I've always wanted to do, just to try to bring up those things that I knew I couldn't remember and to just try to remember more of what happened that night. So I think it was definitely a wonderful tool. I think if you have an experience that, and if you're trying to remember things, this is definitely a way to go.
So, Joe's getting, I see the sun's fading. That's fine. We can still see you.
Good. I didn't think that one through. I don't do podcasts often.
No, this is great.
This is number 2.
Do you recommend this? I mean, would you recommend this to other people that you've?
100% yes.
Oh,
absolutely yes. And especially I think it was really helpful for having the multiple witness, because even though I think I've said maybe amongst ourselves when it happened is that I almost felt a little bit disappointed immediately after my regression, because I didn't feel like I got anything new out of it. So I guess I got confirmation that what I remembered was actually what I remembered. I didn't have any mental block. I just had other stuff that I was not remembering because they were a little bit more insignificant. The part that was very helpful was hearing Ken and hearing his perspective, because his perspective filled in a lot of the holes that I didn't even know I had in the story. And that was I had so many moments during his regression where I'm like looking at Sybil and I was like, oh my God, something that happened just made so much more sense.
Yeah.
And it was from hearing that. So it just added just so much more depth to the story.
Have you and Kenny kept in touch since this reunion?
We keep in touch the way that we kind of always do. I mean, he lives in the Carolinas and I'm here. I mean, he's a business owner. and I'm very busy with my job. So we text each other every now and then, but I don't get to see him very often.
Yeah.
You know,
Did you have a conversation though together after this, like that
you
night
know,
at the hotel?
at the airport, me, Ken, and Sibylla had a great time, you know, chatting at the airport, and really brought a lot of stuff out. But you know, since we left Minnesota, you know, Ken and I, you know, we texted a few times. I might have even called him, to be honest with you. I don't even remember, but it's been, you know, very sporadic afterwards. But I know it was definitely very healing and therapeutic for Ken, and it's kind of part of the reason why he's not doing the podcast, is he kind of feels like that whole thing was like a mic drop moment. He's not involved in the Bigfoot community at all.
No,
Like
I know
he knows nothing about the stuff. He knows nothing about the people. He's just got a memory that's been suppressed for 29 years. And to hear all of that come out, you know, a story that he and I both know, but we never sat down and talked about our feelings. We never talked about what happened. You know, Kenny, what did you see? What did I see? We both were there and knew it. So we would bring it up, but I never heard him speak the whole thing from start to finish.
Yeah.
And I don't think he really remembered it until he went under. And that's what I'm saying. When he went under, he started bringing out details that just had me like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was amazing to hear.
It was. Couple of questions, and David Ellis asked, Crystal and Joe, both you, did either of you sense after this more of the intentions of the Bigfoot? Obviously, in Joe's case, it was aggressive. In your case, it wasn't. But do you want to speak to that question? Did you sense better the intentions after the hypnotism?
I mean, I always feel like the intentions were get us out of there now. You know, I think leading up to it, I felt that that it had wanted. I thought I was going to die. I mean, I thought that I was going to get torn apart like an animal attack. But it stopped, and I never really thought about that until many years later. You know, even thinking about the encounter felt like you were waiting on bad news from something. You know, I never researched it. I didn't watch any movies. I didn't read any books. I didn't even want to talk about it because I would just get that icky feeling in my stomach that I didn't even want to bring the subject up. I didn't even want to know about it, you know, because I literally felt like that night I was going to die, and it wasn't something I wanted to relive. It wasn't until years later that actually, through a set of strange coincidences, the BFRO found me because I wasn't speaking about this at all, that I actually started coming out and talking with a BFRO investigator. And he started, you know, shedding a little bit of light on it and made me thinking about things in a different way. That, you know, it obviously it's speculation, but it's a possibility that, you know, whereas I felt like I was ambushed by this thing, it's possible maybe we were the ones that ambushed it. Like maybe they were trying to make a run for it, and we caught it trying to cross the tracks, and we got too close to the family group, and it's like, all right, you guys got to go.
How about in your case, Crystal? I mean, do you have a better sense of the intentions of the creature that came into your home now than you did? Or is it about the same?
No, I don't think that there were any bad intentions at all. I think maybe just out of curiosity is kind of the feeling I get. But yeah, I'm the opposite, Joe. I would do everything to find out. I mean, when I was a kid, I would go to the library, and the first section I go to, I'm looking for Bigfoot books. Or, you know, I grew up when there was no internet, you know, and my very first search in the 90s when I got a computer was Bigfoot, because I just need those answers. You know, what did we see? And my twin is the opposite. She doesn't want anything to do with it. She doesn't talk about it. She doesn't, you know, I begged her to come on the show, so she did it for me. So I was hoping that she would be able to be here today, but unfortunately she was busy. But you know, No, I just don't think there was any bad intentions.
Yeah, no, the obviously if you had bad intentions, you may have been hurt. It definitely had interesting intentions though of breaking the door the day of. That's so bizarre. Did you think it was looking for you and Cassie by breaking the door and you guys weren't home? Or do you think it knew you weren't home and it broke the door down?
I always thought that it knew that we weren't home and that's why it was broken to make it easier. I don't know. I have no clue why the door would have been ripped off the hinges when we weren't home. I'm looking for something. I don't know. I mean, our bedroom door just happened to be directly across from that busted door.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we weren't the ones it was trying to check on. I don't know. We just happened to be there.
You just wonder how much premeditated planning there was. I mean, it seems so premeditated. You know, it comes, it breaks the door down, and then that night it comes into your room. Like it almost knew step 1, step 2 to do this without your parents knowing. It's
right.
very weird.
I don't know how the door was closed that night. So it makes me, I'm curious. I'd love to find out more about it.
Do you think, what was the lock broken so we could just push the door open at that point?
Yeah, I guess it was practically like ripped right off ripped out from the hinge, not off the hinges, but definitely busted. The lock was busted.
Yeah. Do you remember the lock getting fixed ever when you were young? Do you remember that lock getting fixed? I don't
recall. I'm sure eventually it was, but I don't know.
And you guys lived out. Can you describe the area that you guys lived in? I mean, was it heavily forested?
Oh, even to this day, it's still extremely forested. It's upstate New York, in Oswego. I guess technically it's Hannibal, but we've always just considered it Oswego. County Route 85. There were 3 trailers, and ours was the closest to the woods. And it's still nothing but like swamps, apple orchards, forests, all out there. So even, if you do a Google image search, you still see 3 trailers and nothing but woods behind it. You see some new things added on the road, but pretty much it probably looks the same.
Yeah.
My grandparents actually lived kind of in that same area across the street. And I remember in 79, 80s time frame going to visit my grandparents, and we were going to be staying in the camper. And I just remember my twin, and I was terrified. I wasn't going to sleep in the camper. I didn't even want to be outside at night. So I slept in the house on the couch in the living room. So, but now looking back, I really do to this day still want to go there and take a look around. I haven't been up there in so long.
David Ellis had another question for you, Crystal. Did you find an object of interest and bring it into your home? Could that have been something that the Sasquatch considered its own? I mean, were you guys collecting rocks as kids and things like that?
Honestly, there's a possibility because back then, we didn't just sit in the house and play on our computers. We were always outdoors, building forts, playing outside, running through the woods. We were always outside. So there's a great possibility that something probably could have happened.
Yeah, that's interesting. Theresa, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, Alex can switch back on. There you go. So what would it cost? Because I'm just going to ask it. You can just give me rough numbers. Let's say somebody sees a Bigfoot and they do want to contact you. Could you do this like through Zoom or could you do this hypnotherapy over the internet, or do they have to fly into Minneapolis to see you personally?
I would first want to do a consult with that person just to see how much trauma they're dealing with and how much rapport I can build with them over Zoom or over the phone. I did speak with one of the other experiencers, Jason, over the phone, and we had an amazing conversation. He's sleeping better at night now. And because he's been in the military too, he has referred me to his military friends who have been dealing with post-traumatic stress.
Oh, great.
So it is entirely possible to do this over Zoom or like a video conferencing or over the phone. But I would really want to make sure that there's a strong enough rapport with me and with them that I would be able to trust that would be an okay situation. Otherwise, no, I would rather do that in person.
Yeah, gotcha.
With a lot of trauma. Yeah.
But it is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, okay, great.
Yes, absolutely.
And this is Theresa's website.
Yeah, it's my homepage.
Homepage, Heaven and Earth Healing.
There's a whole story behind that too, actually. Not one that I chose for, but yeah, I basically got the intuitive message that I was supposed to name my business Heaven on Earth. And I thought, oh, are you kidding me? That's just no way. There's no way. And literally 5 days later, I got the 2x4. I asked for it. And I had taken the kids to a park and pulled out my bag of self-help books and grabbed one and opened it randomly. And it literally said, the purpose for our existence here on Earth now at this time is to recreate heaven here on Earth. So boom, got my 2x4.
Love it.
2x4. So yeah, I've been really, really fortunate. I feel so blessed to be working with people all over the world, doing many different types of healing modalities. I actually do have a sacred drum journey experience coming up on the 29th of June here in St. Paul. So if you're in the Twin Cities where you want to be, you can look at my events or class pages and you'll learn more about that. Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So Joe and Sibylla, so didn't you draw Joe's original encounter, Sibylla?
Yes, I did.
Do you have anything that you want to share? I don't know. If I would have thought this through, which I normally do, but in this case I didn't have time, I would have contacted you ahead of time. But if you have anything that you want to share from like Joe's encounter, anything that you want to share today, you can even just send it through Messenger to Alex and he can throw it up tonight.
I think we did before, Alex. You should actually have it because when Joe was on here before, I sent you some images. So they should be in Messenger.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
You see how Sibylla deflected that complicated question right to you, Alex.
Let's see.
She knows you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He should still have them. They'll probably still be in there.
I have to say, I had more fun with all you guys. We're just so cool. And I think there was one night we all sat around after we were all done, right, working. We sat around and drank, and had a few beers, and that was just really fun.
It was
we need
fabulous.
to do a reunion.
Yeah, there you go. You set it up, Joe. I'll be there.
That was amazing.
You set it up.
It was.
I was thinking back, just normally work's not that fun, but it was really nice, super nice. Okay, let's look here. I'm looking for any question. Theresa, can you close doors? I don't know what John Ayers means by that, but maybe you know.
Can I close doors? Okay, so I think I understand what that means.
Yeah.
Finishing, completing. It sounds like someone is wanting to finish a completed cycle of something when you want to close doors.
I gotcha.
Yeah, of course. So I help people heal the past, give them that awareness, the confidence and strength to step into their personal power in the present and be able to dream and envision their future the way they want it to be. So yeah, a big part of the work that I do is helping people heal from their memories from the past, or the things that they're attached to that they haven't resolved. So yes, I can help you close doors.
So do you do any alien abduction stuff, Theresa?
Yes, I am working. I've been working with MUFON for a couple of years. I first met a colleague of mine that we were sharing office space with, and he wrote a book around the UFO experience. And so we collaborated a lot. And then at one point he passed away, and they asked me to step in his position. Yeah, I know. But yeah, it's been really an honor to work with the MUFON group too, because people and specifically with that particular population, people are more prone to forget their experiences because often there's some ulterior motives to keeping them from remembering. And so I find that people often will need hypnosis to uncover a bigger portion of their experience. Yeah.
Did you use the same techniques for alien abduction as you did on Crystal and Joe?
Yeah, pretty much. Absolutely.
Okay.
And all of it really, again, the first part is to always make sure that a person feels safe. So I get them associated to the present moment, their present body. This is who I am in this present moment. And then have them remember something from a past experience, and then practice bringing it closer to view the detail, or if it's too uncomfortable, pushing it further away so that you can still view it, but you can view it at a distance where you can feel more comfortable with it. So there's a lot of different little techniques that I use to help people find that safety place first, and then we move forward with remembering and accessing more information. Yeah.
Very interesting. Alex, do you get any? Oh, there we
did
go.
I do this right?
You did it right.
Yeah, that's it.
This was the sketch that Sibylla, of course, I believe did originally. You can go ahead and comment on this, Sibylla. It's amazing art.
Oh, thank you. Well, Joe is an amazing witness. I don't know what else I could say. Like the image itself. I mean, I haven't seen it in a while, but I can't imagine something coming up out of a swamp. You know, with its arm pumping its arms, and the screams that they heard. And I mean, when you look at this thing's body, that's just. I mean, what could be more terrifying? Having something boiling out of the water, racing at you. You know, your three boys. They have no protection. They have no idea. I mean, just out of the darkness, here comes this thing. It's just terrifying. And if you notice, when Joe and I were working, of course, I asked him about facial features, and he really couldn't see any. So I just kind of hinted at what where they might have been, just to kind of give it. Give it sort of a face. And then the amazing thing happened with Kenny when we kind of discovered why Joe couldn't see the face. That was amazing. I'm not going to give it away, but it was amazing. Yeah, amazing.
How long did this take? How many sessions with Joe did it take?
Gosh, Joe, do you remember?
I remember. I know we did three iterations of it. So by the third, the first one was very close. I was like utterly shocked at how close the first iteration was, and I think we tweaked it 2 or 3 more times after that. And I know you had asked me to go out at night and take a picture of the swampy area, because I only live like 5 miles from where this happened.
And Joe's like, hell no.
And that was almost exactly it. At the time Sibylla had asked me, I think I might have only walked down to that tracks maybe one time before that, and even to this day I still have not walked those tracks at night. I think I would now, but I never did. So I did go down to the tracks. I did take a picture of the spot, and she was able to darken it up. And to be honest with you, the way that is now is very close to how it looked because the moon was bright. So when your night vision is clear, you were seeing things in that way. The moon was reflecting off the high point details of the body.
That's crazy. Jason had a comment, the Squatch Medic, and we're going to have Jason on with Crystal and Crystal's twin sister, and that should be a nice show, so it gives everybody enough time to talk. So that's going to get planned soon, right, Crystal?
I still have to talk to Cass, so I
know.
I'll get her.
It's Cass and Kenny. We can get those two together. Oh my gosh. They're elusive. But even Joe, you've never done. I mean, wasn't this show the first time you'd ever come public?
Yeah, when I did the podcast with you prior to the regression, that was the first time I've ever done a podcast or anything like that.
And it does take courage when you've kind of kept everything bottled up for so many years. That's just it's an amazing. It really is amazing. Joe's story and Crystal's are just crazy. I mean, but I can assure people that I believe them both 100%. I mean, it's just, and I hope anybody listening to this understands that this mystery is not going away ever. This is the reason. It's people like Joe and Crystal, those kind of witnesses that are so rock solid, including Jason, that are so rock solid. And, you can just say, well, the rumors, no, they're not. There's just too much to it. And I would imagine that it was life-changing for them as much as me finding footprints up in the Arctic was for me. It's just life-changing. It's like if you blow it off and just tuck it under the rug, I think it's a big mistake. I think you need to deal with it. So anybody with earshot of our voices, don't hide it. Don't you agree, Joe?
I wouldn't sit on it again like I did. No.
Yeah. Well, I also think that the world needs to hear people like you, and hear you, Crystal, and see you, emotionally, because, as raw as that stuff is, it's kind of important for this mystery to make any headway, because there's a certain portion of scientists, they're going to be more convinced, Crystal, by your story and your session than they are from a hair. And still it's powerful. It's not necessarily powerful for every scientist, but for a portion of them it is, trust me. It's historic what you did. And I do want to thank you guys. So what do you guys want to say? I'm going to shut up here. Go ahead and you guys take the floor.
Well, I just want to say I appreciate the opportunity to be able to go through the hypnosis session.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's always been my dream to do that. So I was very happy that I was able to do it. And I thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, no, I mean, it's that was definitely our pleasure. And we were just so glad it all kind of worked out. I know the courage it took to do what you did. I mean, it just had a lot of courage, You have to open yourself up like that. But
yep.
I think it was worth it.
I hope so. And I hope that people are going to be able to gather some information from that.
Somebody, who's got this dog? Who's got the nice dog going? Is that you, Theresa? Is that your dog?
No, it's mine.
No.
I have puppies. I have two new German Shepherd puppies.
Fine. That's cute.
So I keep muting my mic because they're in there squeaking away.
Are you sure the dog didn't swallow that toy?
They're two German Shepherd puppies. They're 10 weeks old.
And
now they're awake, so everything is getting chewed.
No, that's fine. They take precedence. So where do we go from here is the question. What's going to be, I'm really hoping that this takes off like hypnosis for alien abduction cases, because I think that caused a lot of advancement with understanding, the trauma that people were going through and understanding of that phenomenon. Don't you agree? I mean, does anybody weigh in how how it was John Mack and Bud Hopkins and those guys really cut the path. And I think it elevated the topic tremendously. And I'm hoping that
I
this
think,
might be. Go ahead, Joe.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I think the witnesses definitely have something to add. I mean, if you guys have seen the documentary on the aerial school, when you brought up John Mack, that the aerial school, when they interviewed all the kids that had that ET encounter in Zimbabwe, I think it was, there's so many details that came out, even years later. And like I said, even with Ken, there's little details that the Bigfoot community found me, and I've kind of been a part of it in the background. I don't do podcasts or shows or anything like that, but it keeps circling around and finding me, and doors keep opening, and for that I'm grateful, and I thank you guys, like Crystal, for the opportunity. When the door opens, nowadays I'm going to walk through it, but there's so much to be gained by hearing I mean, nobody would know the details of Ken if this didn't happen. And that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. It just means nobody's heard it. But for those people that are in the community and they know the traits and the habits, and even some of the things that people call woo. I mean, it's only woo until it's proven to be natural. And I think infrasound is one of them. And I think that was a big part that came out in our regression, was some of the infrasound. A couple of years ago, infrasound was woo, and now I think it's more accepted that it's just a part of the natural. And that's, I think a lot of that has come out through stories of witnesses talking about things. I know Sibylla has experienced the infrasound, and so have I.
Sibylla, have you ever told any of your personal stories, or you're always just digging into other people's?
I have told some of my personal stories on some other podcasts. I haven't really told the alien abduction stuff.
Oh, you have?
And no, not really. And it was hypnosis that really helped me come to terms with the stuff. Whenever you're a child and you're experiencing things, you kind of just think everyone else is experiencing them too. I never asked anybody if they were having UFOs, and aliens in their dreams. Like I just kind of thought that was a normal thing. And it wasn't until, and I had missing time and stuff like that. But when you're a child, weird stuff happens and you just kind of say, well, that's weird. And then you shrug your shoulders and then you go on and eat dinner, or whatever you're doing. It wasn't until 1987 when I saw Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, and it was an image. It was the alien, image on that book cover that I literally found myself racing to the bathroom, and I was just throwing up violently because of the image on that book.
Wow.
Because I knew her, like I knew that face so intimately, and I knew it was a female, and I didn't know how I knew, but it made me like just violently ill. And as I sat there, in the bathroom, shaking all over, I knew at some point I was going to have to, because I'd never experienced anything like that in my life. So I knew at some point I was going to have to uncover, what the heck is going on. And it took me a while. I finally bought the book, and I had a heck of a time trying to read it because it was so confrontational. There's so much that Whitley Strieber, that he talked about, and I would read like a paragraph and I would just slam the book down and I would say, why have I never put two and two together? Because it makes you feel like an idiot. And then finally I called Mutual UFO Network, and they had a headquarters in Seguin at the time, and I spoke with Walt Andrus. He was the head of MUFON, and I just told him, what had happened, what was going on for me, and about my reaction to Whitley Strieber's book. And he asked me some questions, and I told him that ever since I'd seen the book cover, I was having just these horrible headaches, and that I'd never had before, and that the only thing that I could do to get rid of them was just to go to sleep. And he asked me if I would be willing, if I've thought about regression. And I said, I have, but I don't know anybody, and I don't want to just go to anybody. And I asked if they had someone in the San Antonio area that they would recommend, and he said they did. And so he gave me the name and number, and it took me another 6 months to get up the courage. And if anybody out there that knows me, I'm not really scared of much of anything. But I was scared. It took me 6 months to go, and finally I went, and I still have that recording like on a cassette tape from 1987. And in all that time, I have only listened to that recording one time because it is so difficult to listen to. It's harrowing what was going on.
Have you done a lot of drawings of aliens for other people? Alien encounters?
I'm working with a witness right now, who and I'm hopefully going to try to get the recording. I'm editing it right now, and it's a man who had it was he had this stuff going on in his house. His wife was very, very pregnant, got up out of their bed because she was so, she was like a day or two from giving birth, and she got out of the bed so that he could get some sleep. And he and their daughter came and got in the bedroom with him. He got up to go to the restroom, and the next thing he knows, he gets hit with a bright flash of light in the side of his head. And then, long story short, the next thing he knows, there's an alien and his wife and a Sasquatch in his hallway, and the alien is holding the wife's hand. And he asks his wife, what's going on? And she said, oh, they're just here to check on the baby. Oh my God, right? And she had the baby the next day.
Jeez. I'm glad I got that text that he took the garbage out tonight. Anyway.
I mean, that's who I've been working with, and I'm editing his show right now. 77-year-old man, former military intelligence.
Yeah. So what do you?
And he's got. I think he has some missing time, Theresa, because he says, I remember my head hitting the pillow, and then the next thing I know, I'm standing in the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And
was it hard for you to find somebody, Sibylla, to do this? Because from other people I've talked to, they cannot find anybody. See, I know who to recommend them to now.
Oh,
but
to do
absolutely. To do the hypnotherapy on, like alien abduction stuff. I've met many people through the years said, I've called this person and this person. Nobody will help me,
You mean
there seems to be a shortage.
To do a drawing of what they saw?
No. The hypnotherapy. I was just going to mention there seems to be a shortage, Theresa, of good hypnotherapists, or am I completely wrong?
You know what? I really don't know, but I would assume that every MUFON organization for every state would have at least a handful.
But they've not had any. I've heard this numerous times from numerous people. They've called MUFON. They give them a referral. The hypnotist never even calls them back.
Oh,
wow,
no.
That's weird. Yeah. No, call me, please. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I had to get accredited and interviewed by several MUFON investigators to be able to do that work. And I often an experiencer or someone who's having the regression will bring a witness to observe the hypnosis just to make sure that I'm not influencing the experiencer. So MUFON is very strict about that. I'm surprised that they don't have more, but certainly you can get a hold of me.
And are you guys planning, Sibylla and Theresa, are you guys planning on collaborating on any
I
kind
would
of
love
witness
to.
stuff? Yeah.
I would love to too. You're so talented.
Oh, thank you. I would really love to. And if anybody's out there that has missing time or has, or thinks that they have had some kind of experience, I so highly recommend it. Like my headaches went away after the regression, and then a lot other stuff started bubbling up. That it was all and it helped me. Because a part of me feels like it's kind of like you're divided. Like a part of me absolutely knows what happened, and then there's this other part of me that does my daily life that doesn't really deal with it at all. It's very compartmentalized, and it still kind of is to this day. But it's kind of in a healthy way. Like I don't feel, I never felt like I was losing my mind or or hallucinating or any of those things. But the hypnosis was, to me, it was very healing, and it gave me a peace about it so that I could finally say, well, no, that's why these things were occurring. And so now I look at it kind of as on a more spiritual level. So the hypnosis really helped me, and I highly recommend it. And Theresa, I would love to work with you if there's anyone that that wants to have what they saw drawn. And then I will also talk to this man that I'm working with and see if I don't know if he's open to hypnosis. And I suggested to him that he might have some missing time, and I don't even know that he's wants to go there, but I'll suggest it.
Well, I've got 3 questions. One, when did you, Crystal, get involved in the actual Bigfoot community? How long ago was that? And then I'm going to ask them all now, and then you guys can just start answering. And Joe, how come you're not involved in the Bigfoot community, or do you have any plans to? Or are you just going to stay where you're at?
Well, I didn't. Oh, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Nope, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't get. I really didn't get involved with the Bigfoot community until they found me.
Yeah.
My mom worked with Mark Mazel, who's a BFRO investigator, and it was 10 years after it had happened. Throughout that 10 years, I've always said there was less than a dozen people that ever heard that story from my lips.
No, but
And
are
if
you
anybody,
ever? But are you ever?
well,
Okay,
I mean, maybe when I
are
retire,
you
I mean,
planning? Oh, okay.
yeah, I
You
mean,
becoming a researcher?
I don't know. I've never even really thought about becoming a researcher. I've always just been content, I guess, to be a witness and learning more.
I know,
I've always wanted to help people who've had a traumatic encounter like mine, and if there's a way that I could do that, I would love to. But I've never really thought about stepping into becoming like a BFRO investigator or anything like that.
do you listen to like podcasts and look for programming on Bigfoot, or do you avoid it?
I don't avoid it as much now. I mean, I do listen to stuff, but if I'm listening, I've been really intrigued lately with the whistleblower stuff on the UFO things, the David Grush. So I've been listening to more that kind of stuff. I got into listening to some of the Sasquatch stuff a little bit more. I like Sasquatch Chronicles, but it just, a lot of it would start to throw me back into that flashback. And when I listen to other witnesses' stories, I tend to only hear the beginning of it because it triggers my own. And next thing I know, I missed the whole thing. So it's almost like I didn't even pay attention to it. It's a waste of time to even try to listen. So I'm more of a face-to-face type of a person.
Okay.
I love getting together and going camping with other, Bigfooters. But the podcasts, I don't listen to many of them at all.
What about you, Crystal? Do you consume damn near everything you can get your eyes and ears on?
I actually joined the BFRO in 2015
Okay.
when they actually came here to do filming for Finding Bigfoot. And being on the East Coast, it's still kind of taboo here. Nobody really talks about it. I mean, if you look at the BFRO website, we have 16 public cases for the state of New Hampshire. I have a map behind me. It's covered in pins. We have hundreds and hundreds of sightings. But people are it's still really taboo here that nobody, they don't want their information made public. So I have hundreds of cases with the BFRO for the state of New Hampshire, but we only have 16 public cases, which does get a little frustrating because people will be like, oh, there's no Bigfoot there. Or, the first time when I saw the episode for Finding Bigfoot and it was, Bigfoot in New York, I just kept telling my husband, see it is true. It is true, but as far as like podcasts and things like that, honestly, I try to sit down and listen, but the same thing as Joe said, I start listening to it and then I start thinking of correlations between what I encountered. When I do talk to witnesses, I take so many notes so I can refer back to that later and look at that. Let's see. I had a train of thought here and it's just gone now. But
you're searching for answers. Bottom line.
I am. And actually it wasn't until, when Finding Bigfoot came out and then the being on Facebook and things like that, that I did a search on Bigfoot or something. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's like these whole communities of like-minded people that I didn't even know existed. And it just like changed my whole world, that now I have like-minded people. I have witnesses that I can speak to, people who have had encounters that know what I've gone through. And the very first conference I ever went to was the Ohio Bigfoot Conference. And I think I met Sibylla there. And it was just like a big family reunion. You just have all these people that know what you've gone through, and it was an amazing experience for me to learn.
You feel like you're with my people. You feel
yep.
Yep.
And I can talk to people and be excited about it. Here, if you like, if I just was talking to anybody off the street, they'd be like, okay, Crystal, I have Bigfoot as my license plate now. So now I want to talk to more people about Bigfoot. Bring it in. Tell me all of your encounters. So, and then when I share, usually when I share with them that I'm also, a witness, that really opens up the doors for them. And then they'll just start telling me everything and without being scared to talk to me about it. So I think that helps.
Interesting. All right. Any parting? Alex, do you have any questions?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, Theresa, did you change your mind at all about, or what was the biggest takeaway you took from this whole being involved in the regression?
Oh, the biggest takeaway? Gosh, that's really a hard question. It was amazing to work with everyone from the beginning to the end of it. It really, I guess, there were certain parts of the work that I do that I think I made sure that I was more focused on during these sessions because this is a so-called taboo topic. I wanted to make sure that I was asking questions and looking at where their eye contact was going so I could tell whether or not they were telling the truth or not, and just get that validation. Because if someone would ever question me, I wanted to make sure that I could confirm that. Yes, I did check. I did ask those questions. Biggest takeaway is that I wish I had more opportunity to do more repeat sessions just to help people resolve some of their stronger negative triggers. In Jason's case, he was able to get, more sleep, which was something that was really different for him. And he was even able to start processing some of his other trauma from the military. So that was really a positive response. It's a fascinating topic, and the practice, I guess, I think, being that I'm curious and I want to help people to really get down to that place where they can actually share this story without feeling the trauma anymore. That's my goal. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. I wish I had more time with everyone to help with that.
Well, we've got to start somewhere with hypnotherapy and Bigfoot. I think it's, from what I witnessed, man, it's a green light. It's a green light. People should be doing it, especially when you've had any kind of trauma. Can you only imagine, meeting a creature that doesn't exist in the woods face to face? That's traumatic. It's extremely traumatic. It's different. Maybe sitting with your wife in the car, one runs across the road. Yeah, maybe not as traumatic, but if you don't have a car to shield you, in Cassie's case and in Joe's case, that would be very, very traumatic for anybody. I don't care how brave you think you are, right, Joe? I mean, didn't you have more fear from that than you had in the military? I believe you relayed to me once.
Well, that was, I guess, one of the things that I struggled with a lot was that, I was a cocky 21-year-old that was active duty Army when this happened. So, you felt like you could take on the world. Everybody's gung ho and wanting to go get their combat patch. And, you're at that stage of your life and military career, you're somebody who's kind of looking for a fight. And what ended up happening that night, I ran. I didn't react the way I felt my military training told me to react. They beat everything into your head so that you don't think about it. You react, when you're ambushed or something happens. And my reaction was to run. And that really started to mess with my head when I got back to Germany, because I was on orders to go to Bosnia. And those orders ended up getting canceled. But the whole time I was there, I started getting this crazy anxiety about what happens if I get deployed and I'm in a bad situation and now my training fails me again and I run. And that was so that was something that I struggled with for years and years. And it's funny because Ken kind of had the opposite. He felt fearless after this, and I felt like I was let down. That I reacted in a way that I shouldn't have. So
yeah.
It was just because, we were at two different points in our life when it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. And I want to mention too, thank you for your service, but Crystal was also in the military. Do you want to give us just a quick rundown on that, Crystal?
Yeah, I actually joined the Air Force when I was 17. So 10 days after I graduated high school, I was at basic training. So I was actually in during Desert Storm. I was stationed in Torrejon, Spain. And I was a glorified secretary. I was an information management specialist. So I'm really good with working with information and classified materials and things like that. So
that's super interesting. Well, thank you for your service too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your sister also enlisted.
We did. We actually went to basic training together.
Wow.
So she went to nursing and did that type of work. And that was actually the first time we had ever been separated, was after basic training, when we had to split and go to our tech schools. So she went to, I think, Ohio is where she went to hers. And I went down to Biloxi in Mississippi. So, and that was the first time we'd ever separated. That was the first time ever.
Yeah. No,
but to even be able to attend basic training with your twin is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And graduate at the same time, because we were pulled aside and said that, they're going to do everything in their power to separate you two. Do everything you can to try to stay together. And during our graduation, a TI came up to us and said, "Congratulations, you guys did it. They were gunning for you to separate you, and you didn't give them anything to separate you about." So
that's awesome. That's awesome. I don't know. I think we can wrap the show up. I really want to thank all of the live audience. We got a great audience. People like Francesca that had a lot of really amazing comments. Dennis, Jeff, Gary, on and on. But thank you. And please, everybody, remember, somewhere something very, very incredible is waiting to be known and understood by you. That's kind of it. I mean, it's all about what you discover and what you accept and what you can figure out in your life. And that's what these guys are all doing. Everybody on screen, I think, except Alex. Alex is good. But anyhow, we love everybody. Thank you. We'll be back next week. Good night. Thanks so much, Sibylla, Theresa, May, Crystal, Joe. You guys are awesome. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Call you up in the middle of the night. Been bothered by dreams, ain't feeling alright. You give me comfort, say just give it some time. By the end of our talk, I'm feeling just fine. You and I will always know where we belong. This ain't no ordinary love we got going on. I'll pick you up in my 59 Ford. We head on down the road until we get bored. Just you and me and the sun and the wind. If the rain should start falling, we'll head on home again. Everybody else can see where we belong. Oh, ain't no ordinary love we got going on. At the end of the world, together forever is one, and I'll wait. If ever you should be in doubt, and I'll pray they never can pull us apart, and I'll wait for the time when we'll be together every day. But I know if ever we'll be led astray, that I'll find my way back home to you again. At the end of the world, together forever is one, and I'll wait. If ever you should be in doubt, and I pray they never can pull us apart, and